signing or what. And also another thing, when I did come up here last city council meeting, I felt very disrespected and I was fed up with it. I don't come up here just to run my mouth. I come up here because I'm passionate and I'm actually concerned. And some people were actually still looking down. Some were actually packing up their things. So I don't know what the problem is. If you all have a problem with me, that's fine. I don't mind. I'm still gonna be kind and be respectful like I always am. But I'm an adult as well. We're all adults. And I feel like if I'm presenting something to you all and there's actually a problem and those problems are coming to you and you've heard reports today, so there shouldn't be an issue. I just want you all to, stop the pettiness within each other and to me, because I can feel it. It's fine. But, just do what needs to be done. And if it's in the budget, let it happen. Let everything ride out, because if you don't, next 5 to 10 years, everything is going to come crumbling down in that complex and the ones that they're building to follow. And I'm saying that because I have a friend who works for a construction company and he's looked at all of those properties. He's worked on some of those properties. So, even saying that, he's seen some of the things, the before and the after, and he said, nobody should be living here. So, I'm encouraging you all today. I'm being happy and spiritful, and thank you again, Councilman Rowland. I look forward to next meeting. Hopefully, it'll be better, and we can all come together as one.
Thank you.
Yes.
Ms. Jackson, I just want to say, council voted unanimously for this action to take place, and so we're just trying to do the work of the people. So, but thank you for the SOLV council who want to make sure that these reports get done.
Thank you.
Upcoming strategic plan.
Yes, sir. I move that we remove item number 12 from the agenda.
Second. It's been properly moved and seconded that item 12 be removed from the agenda. You've heard the motion, ready for, well, I guess, you can remove it, actually, yeah. You all in favor? All in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. 13, discuss and take action on internal audit to be conducted by the city treasurer, Ms. Johnson, and the bookkeeper, Mr. J.J. Johnson. Councilman Rowland.
This is what I was alluding to earlier. Thank you. Because what we're trying to do, what we asked for was an internal audit to be conducted by the city treasurer, Ms. Johnson, and the bookkeeper, Mr. J.J. Johnson. There are three different types of audits. We have our financial audit, which is coming up for that will review kind of an overview of the city financials, which has been done by Ernst & Pains for several years. Then we have the next step of an audit, which is an internal audit that measures processes, flows of checks, deposit withdrawals, purchase orders, and then there's the forensic audit. Forensic audit costs a lot of money, and so we wanted to, just again, because we haven't had a city treasurer in 3 years, or 3 years, 38 months. We got Ms. Johnson 3 months ago, and so we want to make sure that our process and protocols are there. So we're going to have Mr. J.J. Johnson and Ms. Johnson to create a report, to give us back feedback on what are we currently doing, what we need to change. And since we have Ms. Johnson in there, as our city treasurer, there's some things that Mr. J.J. Johnson is doing that he's going to have to relinquish to Ms. Johnson. And we want that in a document to make sure we can process and move forward.
Councilman Jones?
I move that we approve that an internal audit be conducted by the city treasurer, Ms. Johnson, and bookkeeper, Mr. J.J. Johnson.
Second. It's been properly moved and seconded that council approve an internal audit to be conducted by the city treasurer, Ms. Johnson, and the bookkeeper, Mr. J.J. Johnson. You've heard the motion, ready for the questions.
Can I have unreadiness? Could I get a 30-day time frame on that as well?
But can we get a little more specific?
What time?
Well, he mentioned processes, flows, procedures.
Okay, well, that's all I need.
Yeah. So the back office, purchase orders,
Process.
Yeah.
credit cards, all our processes.
Okay.
Any other unreadiness? All those in favor say aye.
Okay, do we get the 30 days?
Ayes have it.
I move that,
With the unreadiness, did we get that, was that in the amendment?
no,
it
you
wasn't
didn't want to
amended.
amend it.
You wanna do another motion? While we're on the topic, go ahead.
I move that we do a audit with the, internal
Number
audit,
13 and 30.
and, yeah, 30 days.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded that item number 13, the internal processes audit, et cetera, be done in 30 days. You've heard the motion, ready for questions?
Question.
All those in favor? Ayes have it. 14, discuss and take action to approve Economic Development Corporation 4B 2019-2020 budget, President Easy and EDC directors.
Well, council, mayor, thank you, from EDC. Let's go through the narrative. You guys all have the budget in front of you all. So the city council of Prairie View, or the city of Prairie View, 4B Economic Development Corporation Board is pleased to submit this proposed fiscal year 2019-2020 operating budget for $636,000. Last year's budget was $234,000 and $300. The budget is a plan of financial operations embodying an estimate of proposed expenditures for this fiscal period and the proposed means of financing them. The needs and goals of the 4B Economic Development Corporation have been carefully evaluated and discussed. The proposed budget exceeds current operating funds by $300,000, which will be funded from the beginning operating reserve fund balance $1,085,509 as of August 31st, 2019. So I'll go through the major budget items which are listed here, and if you guys want to stop me at the end of each, you guys can for questions, and we can also go through the budget itself. Sales taxes. Sales taxes are the primary source of funding. The sales tax rate is 1.5% of taxable sales in the city. Estimated sales for the 2019-2020 fiscal year are $63,553 million, resulting in sales of taxes of $317,800. Other sources of revenue are the interest on bank records, $3,200, and sales of the new city booklet, $15,000. Operating expenditures. Director and administrative assistant. A director, which we're looking at salary of $65,000, and administrative assistant, $40,000, is included in the budget. Also, travel allowance for the director is $20,000, which is included. This should allow the director to pursue economic opportunities for the city of Prairie View throughout the nation and other countries. Insurance for the director as a full-time position and administrative assistant is $9,600, and retirement benefits $5,800, which are included. Contract clerical, which is pretty much an intern. A contract clerical person will continue to provide needed services 20 hours a week at $15 an hour, which results in $15,600 for the whole year. This person will be a student from Prairie View University. Office space. While we are still looking at construction of office building, we are planning to actually rent out office space. One area that we're looking at right now is right next to the small business organization right on that's located in the bowling alley. So we're estimating about $25,000 for the year for office space, and then also furnishing the office. Contract professional services. Contract professional services will be provided as follows: auditing $4,000, accounting $6,000, and legal $25,000. Now the legal might go down because they're working on getting a satellite TV installed, so that the attorney could basically be seen from the other side by a webcam of some sort. Advertising. The amount budgeted, $32,200, is less than 15% of the total revenue allowed by the state of Texas. City direct business incentive. An amount budgeted is $19,000, which is various city business incentives costs are recorded. Professional workshops. Board members and personal new committee members will be encouraged to attend professional workshops to enhance the understanding of state economic development rules and regulations. This is also workshops that regard trainings on economic development as well as Open Meetings Act and stuff like that. That's just the overall budget for that. All other operating expenses are budgeted as normal operating amounts needed and to conduct the business of 4B Economic Development Corporation for the fiscal year 2019-2020. Programs. The 4B Economic Development Corporation plan to implement the following programs: grants and loans, $60,000; expansion programs, $60,000; revitalization programs, $60,000; infrastructure construction, $60,000; and rural development, $60,000. That total equals $300,000. So we took out $300,000 from our reserve to basically put in this budget so that if any of these programs come up, we'll be able to dip into those funds as needed for the 5 major projects that we're looking at. With the approval of this budget, we, the City of Prairie View Economic Development Corporation Board, can continue to explore the expansion of new development within the City of Prairie View. If you go to the last page, it details out the budget line items from what we spent last year compared to what we're budgeting for this year. Yes, sir.
I just wanted to know, for the sake of time, does council have any questions regarding the budget?
I do. In reference to the executive director, what is the timetable that y'all looking for having an executive director?
So this Thursday, we are planning to finalize getting a search committee, well, not a search committee, a search firm to actually look at putting the bid out for the executive director. So the timeline we're looking at is by December 1st. I know that's kind of rushing it, but we're hoping that the search firm will be able to go out there and get enough people, enough candidates, at least 2 to 3 candidates that we can interview here, and then bring our recommendation to the city council.
Just to piggyback on that, I just want to commend economic review on the executive director. I know we created this position 3 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago, when we created this position, we did that with the intention of, we saw the vision of how important it is to have this person in place that can work on behalf of the city full time. So I just commend y'all for making it happen.
Any questions?
Yes. When you gonna update the bylaws?
We're looking at, we actually me and Director Brown talked to the attorney end of last month. So we're looking at updating the bylaws this month because we saw a lot of things within our bylaws that conflict and create a lot of other mishaps. And I know when Curtin was here, he wanted to update the bylaws, but right before he was able to send us a copy of his updates, he actually resigned. So Cameron Cox will be updating it by this month.
And so when will city council get to see it?
Just gotta come to council for approval.
Yeah, let me pull up my calendar. So next month's meeting, November 21st. I would say your next council meeting after November 21st.
So before the 2020?
Yes.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
Quick question. On the contract clerical, you're budgeting for 15.6, and you're over twice that now. Think you may want to adjust and increase that?
Oh, no, so we had 2 interns before.
Okay, so you lowered it
Yes,
just
sir.
for one now.
Plus you
Yes,
have
sir.
administrative assistant.
Yeah, plus we'll have
Gotcha.
administrative assistants.
Great job.
Good stuff. Good stuff, yes.
One, I just want to commend the work that Economic 4B has been doing. My question was the additional $300,000
Yes, sir.
on these programs.
Yes, sir.
Do you have some information on how you're gonna roll this out, or will we get a copy, get some information? So because again, most people, I know Economic 4B makes these decisions, but most people come to city council for information.
Yes, sir.
And y'all are doing all these great things, and they come to us and we're looking with deer in the headlights. And so we'd like to have the information when y'all institute programs, because we're the cheerleaders too.
Yes,
And
sir.
so we just like that information.
Yes, sir. So also piggyback off of that, we will also be coming back with a strategic plan that we're actually looking at for the year. So we'll be having that by your next city council meeting. You guys will have a booklet in your hands to actually see what our vision looks like for next year.
Great job.
Again, great job. Appreciate you and what all the other directors have
Mr.
done.
Mayor,
Yes.
I move that we approve economic Economic Development Corporation 4B 2019-2020 budget.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that council approve 4B Economic Development Corporation's 2019, 2020 proposed budget. You've heard the motion, ready for the question?
Questions?
All in favor? Opposed have the same right? Ayes have it, motion passed. Thank you again, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Great job, you guys. Thank you.
15, discuss, consider financial statements received from bookkeeper, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah.
Council have any questions on those?
Yeah, we don't have them, which is,
Okay,
Y'all had them, I gave them to you at y'all's
the
work.
last meeting, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the green.
The red one, I gave it to y'all.
But now, let me ask you something, were you just gonna go through that, or
No,
this was
I'm-
just
I'm just, I
any
will
questions
answer
we
any
have?
questions that they might have.
yeah,
We can carry it over.
yeah, can we carry it over to the
Yeah.
next meeting?
Okay, so we'll carry it over, and, a reminder for, we need to bring those, okay. All right, discuss and take action on contract renewal for Mr. J.J. Johnson as bookkeeper. It's council's pleasure.
Attorney, was the contract, the new contract in our city council package?
Yes, you have it.
Yes.
Oh, this right here?
Yes, and there's an attachment as well.
Yes, and our city attorneys incorporated that into the professional services agreement that's very typically what we've been using, so it's not the same document that Mr. Johnson submitted, but the information is in there.
And just to note, there's still a couple of blanks. There's still a couple of blanks that you would need to fill in this evening if you were to approve it.
I will say that
Who you talking to?
if, huh?
Oh,
If we could spend some time, look, I just got this information.
Cool, move.
But two things real quick, as we do that. We have what the contracts say people do. We wanna know the process of what they truly do, because I keep hearing that Ms. Johnson is the city treasurer. And so there's some things that the city treasurer, who's an employee of the city, needs to be doing, not Mr. Johnson. Haven't had the city treasurer for 3 years, that's fine. We have one now. We need to use this person who's an employee of the city. And so hopefully we'll have processes and a summary set up, so we can have a conversation for the next meeting.
Put your win both together.
Yes.
Put your win both
Yes.
together.
But yes, if we can move this to the next city council meeting.
And what you'll want to be looking at more particularly is the Exhibit A, which has the specific duties. So that'll help you as you look through it.
But he does a lot more than what's on here,
Mhm.
which is why we're saying the city treasurer is here, but kind of the roles are reversed. But yes, and he got 20+ years in career. But, yep, I'll ask this as move to the next agenda.
Okay, you got that, Ms. Bynum? Carry over number 16. Item 17, discuss and take action on amendment to November 24th, 2015 agreement with Bureau Veritas to extend building official duties and related fees for an additional period of 60 days.
Yeah, this was 2015.
The initial
They're
contract.
probably talking about the
They-
initial contract.
They've been here since that time. This is to give them something like what we added before. This is an extension.
Could we do third?
So, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Who was supposed to be speaking in references? Or is it you, are you up to date on this? Because,
I'm up to date on it. What this is extending what council requested that was extended previously, so that they're in here doing those building official duties. They can't do it without this,
Right.
is what she told me. She even told me they can't come to the meeting about this without this contract.
So
This
to-
is building official stuff.
true.
Yeah.
But they, so this is the issue why we have to have an overall conversation with them on the other contract. So we have right now before us the stuff from Bureau Veritas. This is client inspection report account. Is that what everybody has? And so I'm assuming that this is for building official stuff, right? Now,
Nah, I can't say that.
but that's why I'm saying is, we're
Yeah.
discussing the topic of the contract, but
Right.
before us is information that has to do with what they do for us already. And so I wanted to be clear on, for the 2 months we've paid them, or 2 or maybe even 3 months we've paid them, the only thing that I think was the different variation, which is what I've asked for like 2 months ago, which is this last project activity, which is what I have found. It wasn't this sheet right here, which is, so we want to know the difference. The last project activity report had the project description. It said the project created type, the address, subdivision, what it was, plan review, passed, failed. We don't know if they're building us extra money to do what they're already supposed to be doing. And also including us for building official, like there's no difference. And we want to see the segregation of processes, because right now they want us to pay $5,800 more per month. And right now, the difference between client inspection count, inspections is what and all the stuff they're inspecting is the stuff they're supposed to be doing already in the first contract,
Well,
based on this.
Let me share this. What they've been doing in the office is what council voted to take away from
Yes.
me doing, because their licenses, they know all about that stuff, and I'm all for it. But, by way of example, let me give you the Flowchem Checkers project. It was Ms. Rogers, after everyone else, that pointed out to us that the easement and the land behind them was commercial and only needed a 10-foot variance instead of a 15. The stuff that she's been pointing out in the office and keeping us on track with, you won't find in here per se. Because what she's training people like Ms. Cortez on, because so many people come in here for permits and no, you don't give that without this, that's what she does. The primary information you have in front of you, I agree, is the building inspector reports. But she can't give you a report on making our processes work better when people come in here all day long. And they've been turning to, and I mean the front office staff and
Yes, sir.
people coming in for things.
I agree, but
Yeah.
in the scope of services, on their contract,
Mhm.
the $5,280, it says, apply knowledge of building codes, policies, procedures to the day-to-day function of the building department. So they've created our building department. There's a document, there's a summary, there's something that says they did what they did that goes somewhere. I'm not asking them to create anything new, I'm just asking to have that document. And if this is the document we're looking at, client inspection count, that's the same document they give us on the other side. Then it also says assist process applicants inquire, like what you talk about. But there's a form where they could say, hey, we saw 20 applications, we moved 10 forward and 5 did this. It says processing of permits to include coordination with the city departments and consultants. Where does it say what process permits? If it's this last activity report, yes, they did that, but this went up to only June. And so we're saying if we've paid them for 2 or 3 months, we should have one for every month. And if this is it, that's fine. We just need to know what it is. It also says coordination of plan review on new residential and commercial projects. Plan review how? Is this the pre-development piece? Because remember, during a development, they're the one who does the inspection anyway in our current contract. So what I'm
Plan
saying,
review is not inspection.
right, so
It's a
we're,
different process.
okay, so if the plan review process, is that the same thing that the engineer's charging us? And so all I'm simply saying is that we clearly define the roles of who's doing what, and before we extend paying them the 5,280, which again, they've done some good things, we need to know what we're paying them to actually do.
Well, they've been helping to move the office without me having to be involved in the process. So
Mr. Mayor,
if you don't approve it,
Mr. Mayor,
yes, sir.
I move that we give a 30-day extension, and within those 30 days, you bring us back a process on how we'll move forward.
Okay, we'll have to get more details.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the amendment to November 24, 2015 agreement with Bureau Veritas to extend building official duties and related fees for an additional period of 30 days be approved by council. You've heard the motion, ready for the questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed have the same right.
So after 30 days, it's supposed to come back to us?
Opposed have the same right. Motion passed. I'm sorry.
So this was just to get extended for 30 days, and then it's supposed to, the contract's supposed to come back? So that's not what we read.
Right. Well, I wanted to follow what the motion was, am I right?
What,
It was 30 days?
yeah, and then we come back.
Bring
That
back
was
the
it.
process, yeah.
Okay, bring it back.
Bring back the process.
Okay, so Counselor, I need you to change it from 60 to 30 and we'll get with them. Okay, thank you. Discuss and take action on USW strategic plan assessment of city clay pipes. Councilman Jones.
I was liking to ask USW to do a plan, with, analysis, giving us a breakdown, how many clay pipes we still have, running, going throughout the city, within 60 days, if they get reasonable.
Come up there real quick.
So well,
And I know that this is something additionally, like, when earlier we come out the process, things that we could possibly get back, and like, you can start helping us, with a plan moving forward, that this will be one of the plans.
Right, so typically, this would be considered additional services, because the extent of reviewing the city's pipes, basically you have to get a TV truck out here to actually televise the pipes to determine which ones are, PVC or clay. We won't be able to identify those from above ground looking down a manhole, because the manhole is gonna be concrete or fiberglass all the way down to the invert, and then the invert out to the next manhole is either PVC or clay pipe. So what I can do, just based off the city drawings, I can get a mileage of how much sanitary sewer collection system there is, and then I can put together a cost to provide that service for the city.
Now, the other thing too is, with all the repairs that we've had throughout the city, Alta Vista was the only area that had clay pipes, and we got a grant to take care of all of those. We haven't run into any other clay pipes, to my knowledge. Are you
Right,
aware?
so Alta Vista, and we've also done well, I think LGA or the contractors that were working in Alta Vista, they televised a certain area in Roseville as well. So I would have to get that information from LJA, that way we don't, charge the city for work that's already been done.
Okay.
Basically.
Sounds good. You can get that back. Okay.
What's the, Mr. Barker, what's the time period that we get up by 60 days?
I can turn that around in about 14 days, 2 weeks.
Oh, good, so,
It's just the cost to do but to actually perform the work, that can take anywhere from a month to 3 months, depending on how busy the television crew is.
okay, thank you.
Okay. Gentlemen and lady, are we up back to item number 2? And,
Can I
yes.
make a comment?
Hold on. So I make a
For
motion
council?
so we can do this.
I move that, we don't,
Let's follow, what?
well, I move that we don't approve items 2 nor 3.
Permission to make a comment based on information that came
Yeah,
out tonight?
On this item,
Yes.
It's on the
This is-
sheet, so that's why I was making that we remove items 2 and 3, and so that way you can have.
Okay, you have permission, why don't you come
Okay.
forward?
I mean, it was,
Tonight I learned that shots were fired 2 houses down from where I have students living. I own 2 properties on Clark Street. You know, you've been there, most of you have been there. I have 18-year-olds living in those properties. I can't control their behavior, I can't control what they do. I can see on my cameras, and I tell you, I have been very patient. I have met with Chief Solomon. I want to know what you're going to do to prevent this. Homecoming is coming, and y'all know, and I just see you guys. I've watched every one of your meetings. Even though I'm not here, I've watched every one of them on YouTube. I know exactly what's going on. And here we have a problem. These things escalate. I want these kids to have a good time. We do property management differently, and you can ask any of my tenants. My property manager is going to get food stamps signing our tenants, taking them to get signed up for food stamps. Because they have to make a decision, do they pay rent or do they eat? So we're taking them to the food bank and getting them signed up for food stamps. Y'all sit up here and fight with each other. You are not the enemy. The university is not the enemy. Y'all have got to figure out how to come together and work together to make this city better. I hear things from other people. There's tons of empty properties in my neighborhood in Clark Street. And I hear, I don't want to rent to students, they just destroy my properties. And I said, I have great tenants. And you know what the response is? There are no good ones. Well, you know what? I don't believe that. I know these kids. I know what their dreams are. I know what their ambitions are. I know where they want to go after we're taking an interest in them, investing in them. They're smart, they're savvy. We're giving them opportunity. Homecoming's coming. We've asked our tenants to, if you guys want to make some extra money, there's no places to work. We have one of our tenants who got denied because of the grade thing at Prairie View. We registered him for workforce. He's working for us as an intern. We are doing positive things. I'm going to challenge all of you to look around you, see the good that is happening. But here's the thing, recognize the bad and figure out. These officers, do you know how many calls I have done to the See It, Say It? Do you know how many times I've said, I see a drug deal going on in my neighborhood right now on my cameras? And nothing. You guys want to fight over all of this stuff, and I'm just asking you, please don't let one of my tenants that moved in, she's been homeless for most of this semester until we dropped our deposit to where she could move in, and we deferred payment. We have a tenant, I haven't seen a single dime from him yet because he hasn't gotten his financial aid. Listen to their problems. These kids are here because they aren't being heard. Listen to what their issues are. But I'll tell you what, the one tenant that was homeless, she wasn't sure 3 days before school started. She found out she got accepted to the university. Do you want to know why they weren't taking her? Because she left the university without withdrawing because her boyfriend was murdered. Right here. And she's telling me her story. Her name is Destiny. You need to talk to these kids and find out their stories and what's really happening. This city development is coming. Somebody said 5-10 years, you won't even recognize this place. I went to Texas A&M, I graduated from A&M. I just went to a 30th anniversary for a thing called Breakaway, which is the largest college ministry. This city needs Jesus, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it. But I'll tell you, there is opportunity here, but I'll tell you, I don't want another story like Destiny's boyfriend. Her grades fell because she got all Fs. She didn't officially withdraw. My goodness, the resiliency of these kids that are telling me I almost got arrested because I was stealing food. Miss Tawny, I was so hungry.